Welcome to Sincerely Be. This is your host, Blanca. Ya me reclamaron que I sound really cringe when I say, hola, mis hermosos, mis hermosas. Mr. Robert already called me out on it. He's like, babe, you sound low-key a little cringe when you say that. But I'm like, hello. I am the definition of cringe. Like, duh. But anywho, I'm going to still keep using it. It just comes out. Like, it's not like I try. And then if I start saying like something else, like, I don't know, like, what am I going to say? Like, hey, everyone. Hey, y'all. What's up? I don't know. Anyways, I'll probably still continue to use hola, mis hermosos, mis hermosas. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I change. We only evolve from here, okay? Anywho, happy Monday. Hope you guys had a beautiful weekend. Oh, and also, happy April. Holy cow. Holy cannoli. We're in friggin' April, you guys. Like, I felt like I had just released the episode of Reset with B March edition, like, not that long ago. And in a blink of an eye, it's like, boom, we're in April. Like, slow down. I didn't even get to meet all of my goals. But I hope you guys were able to at least meet some goals that you guys had for the month of March. But we're in April now. So, you know how I had said that I wanted to put monthly reset episodes just to kind of like get a fresh start, a new breather or whatever. But I'm like, damn, the month goes by really fast. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one. I just felt like January and Feb were like very slow. Y eso que February is like a very short month. And March was just like, boop. And now we're in April. Anywho, I hope you guys had an amazing month of March. I hope you guys just really enjoyed it, took the time. I wonder also if it was because of the time change, now that I'm thinking about it. Anyways, I'm not going to bore you with what I usually start off the episodes with, which is your 3 questions of the week, which is 3 things you're grateful for, how are you feeling, and what you're looking forward to. I'll just leave those there, and whenever you are ready to ask yourself those questions, ya saben que se pueden preguntar. So, don't say that I didn't put it out there for you guys. Anywho, you guys, I just keep getting so excited about the pod. Like, there are so many things that I was already excited for, but now that like I'm putting in the work and seeing the results, I'm just like, like, I don't know, like, I just get so excited. And truthfully, okay, you guys, honestly, not to toot my own horn or whatever that saying is, but I'm just really not a small-minded person. And in the beginning, like, I was like thinking about the pod a certain way, but as I continue to do this, there's just so many ideas that like are like ding, 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 ding. You know, like your brain is just like boom, 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 boom. Like that is my brain right now. And I'm just like, I like get really excited to just like, I just can't wait. And I'm like, But thank you guys. First of all, I want to give you guys all a shout out. Thank you for all the support, all the amazing and encouraging words you guys have been sending to me. Thank you guys so much. Like, it really motivates me. It really empowers me and encourages me that, I do have people that enjoy listening and watching, and it just like fills my heart. So thank you guys so much for the support, and know that your comments and everything do not go unrecognized. Like, I see them all. I don't see comments so much on YouTube. I'm trying to like stay away from that. Like my sister, Robert, and my cousin, they are usually the ones that go through like the comments and everything. And they kind of just like tell me like certain comments that were said or anything. Pero no me quiero hacer como like very like hyper focused on like what's being said, how many followers I have, like nada de eso. Like right now I just like really want to enjoy this time, and I want to just like continue to have that enthusiasm to like continue to put myself out there and be vulnerable with you guys and just have a fun time with this. And I don't want to like go down that like rabbit hole of just like anything yet. So si han puesto como like comments on YouTube and I haven't answered, I just want to like let you guys know why or anything like that. So if there's anything that you do want to tell me or anything, like, you can always send messages at Sincerely Be Podcast on Instagram. That's what I usually answer most of the questions, and that's when that's where I look at most of the things. So don't think that like I ignore your guys' comments or anything like that. Pero it's just for like my own mental health. And from the beginning, I had told myself this, that I don't want this to be like a negative space for me. I don't want to go down like a negative hole. Like, once I start realizing that I am doing this more for the people than for myself, like, I know that I have to pause and I have to take a step back and just like take a break from this. So I'm being really healthy with this, taking care of myself, putting myself first, and really just having fun with it. So just wanted to put that out there in case like people are like, wow, what a witch. She like doesn't even answer to the comments or anything. So it's not that. And I know that there have been like some negative comments already said, but it's like, I mean, it is what it is, you know, like, kind of comes with the territory. But it's funny because like my friends and like everybody's just like, oh my God, let me answer this. But it's already like, no, like, why give them the time, you know, like, kill them with kindness. But anyways, just wanted to give a huge shout out to those people that have been very supportive and encouraging with your kind words. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot, honestly. So anyways, I thought for this week's episode, it would be kind of fun to talk about how I came to be in the career path that I am now, and why I chose the field that I chose, and why I do the work that I do. So for those that don't know and didn't listen to the Q&A of what exactly I do with my life, I am a social worker. So I majored in social work. So what I currently do in the job that I have is I work really close with youth. I support them, I empower them, I give them the voice that they need. I work really close with the youth's family, supporting them with finding like resources, supporting them in how to like best navigate life in the community and everything. And I also coach our volunteers who want to become mentors for a youth that is involved in our program. So I do a little bit of a lot of things in this current job, but it really has encouraged me and empowered me to become a leader that I never really ever envisioned me to ever be. So I do quite a lot in this job, but I'm honestly so blessed and I feel so fortunate to get this opportunity, because I was given this opportunity to work in this organization fresh out of college with little experience, but I have gained so much experience within the last 2 years, and it's been really encouraging working with the people that I work with. You know, just being a young professional, it's always like really scary to for me personally, it's been, in the beginning, it was a little nerve-wracking coaching people that are older than me, because there has been incidents where like some people don't take you as serious because of your age, and like they think that you don't have the knowledge or that you're not experienced or anything. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, you have to show up, and you have to show up as your authentic self. And really, like, you're not doing it for them, but you're like preparing them to become the best mentors to our youth. And I feel like youth culture nowadays is so important to get connected with, because there are just so many different things happening in the youth culture, and preparing our volunteers to feel connected has been huge. And oh my God, there's just so much that I continue to learn, and I'm just like always ready for like the next challenge or whatever it is and everything. But as I'm looking at it in like a personal way, like, I would have never in a million years ever seen myself coaching a person or teaching a person, empowering a person, giving someone voice, supporting a person in any area in their life. I would have literally never seen myself doing this. So growing up, I was actually like a very shy and timid and insecure person. Yo nunca pensaba por yo misma. I I never really like thought for myself. I kind of always just went with the flow, like lo que me decían, pues like it was true. I never really questioned around it. Like I always just believed everything. Like I was honestly super naive, and I kind of always just like did what I was told, which honestly, looking back at it now, is such a dangerous mentality to have, because that is how so many people get taken advantage of and manipulated. It's just so not like safe for a kid to think that way, you know? Like I always encourage our youth to just like ask questions, like why questions, and just like always keep pushing. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, like I really think it was because of the way that I grew up, donde like my parents would just be like because I said so, and you couldn't question it. You couldn't be like, but why? Like, you know, like there was no such thing. At least in like my household, there was no such thing that you can question like your parents or the authority as to like why certain things happen certain ways, like why that happens, you know, like you just couldn't question it, and that was that. So como que eso se me quedó for a very long time. Like I want to say like that stuck to me all elementary, all throughout middle school, y como que se me empezó a quitar un poquito like once I reached high school. But I wasn't the type of person that would really like go out of my way to like meet new people or find new friends, mingle with different people or anything like that. I always had like my close friends till this day, like they're still like my really good friends. But I wouldn't like go outside of that circle. Like I was like comfortable. I felt fine. Like no pensaba que ocupaba like anybody else in my circle or anything. And that was that, you know? I also like hated being picked in class. Like I just like was always very like insecure about how smart I was, or just like my capability of knowing the right answer or anything. Like I was never the person that would be the first one to raise their hand. I actually did not even ever raise my hand. Like I never wanted to get picked on. I never wanted to read out loud. Like I just like was kind of like in my own little bubble. Like I just like didn't really want to be known in like the class setting or just like really anything. Like I just like was there, and I just like didn't want to like come out of that shell. I literally would get anxiety if like they called my name like in class and like, hey, like Blanca, like read that next paragraph, and I'd be like like inside I'm like hyperventilating, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no. But you know, like I would do it, but adentro me estaba muriendo. I was like, no. But I don't know, I just think because like I just didn't want to be made fun at, or like I just would sound dumb or something. I don't know. And it wasn't until like I got into like high school where I did start getting like a little bit more confident, but I wasn't like super out there. Like my mom was super strict on me, so it wasn't like I was like able to go out and about and like meet people or like go to parties and just like go through that teenage phase that like people would go through. Like I never really did. Like my mom like wanted me home at this time, and I just had to be home at that time. Like I couldn't question it. I couldn't like argue back or anything. Like for my birthday, I think those were the only times that she would let me go, and this was when the X Games were free, and that's the only time she would let me go out, is go out to the X Games and be home early though. So I was like able to like hang out and then like go back home, and then that was it, you know? So like nunca tenía como that crazy teenage phase or story. Like no, like I was just kind of like honestly kind of like in my own friend group, the same people that I hung out with since middle school, and we like continued to be friends, and that was just that. I did talk to like a few people here and there, but never like to the extent where like they would invite me out or anything, because I knew like if they would invite me out, I would say no, and because like I wasn't allowed to really go out or anything. So when I entered like high school, I want to say it was like my sophomore year or something, where I started getting like very into church, and I started to get involved in volunteering in my church. And I would, you know, like go to Bible studies. I was on the worship team. I was really involved like in the congregation of the church. And during that time, I remember that there was words spoken over me a few times, and it was like the same thing that people would tell me, that I would be the type of person to build connection with people and be able to communicate with people and empower people and support people. And mind you, like in high school, like I was already like kind of breaking out of my shell a little bit, but I wasn't fully there. Like I wasn't like super involved in school and I wanted to like break out of my shell a little bit. So like I did try with sports. I would like try to like join like after school things and everything like that. But I was still like very shy of like whether I was good at certain things or not. Like I did volleyball, I did basketball, I did track, I did cheerleading, like all those things. I even tried to I like joined like this like honors math class, which I like hate math, but like I ended up doing it anyways. And like there was just like a few things that I like really started to get involved in, pero nunca lo hacía sola. Like siempre tenía alguien que like would do it with me. And I want to say actually that I think it was like my junior and senior year that I decided to join a play. And that really helped with like my confidence. It was during this time that I was just like, you know what, like screw it, it's my last 2 years, I want to get involved, I just like want to have fun, I want to go out, like I want to meet people. Like I'm probably never gonna see my classmates ever again, porque era cuando like everyone was like starting to decide like what college they wanted to go to and that they were gonna leave the valley and everything. And I was like, whatever, like let me just enjoy life. So I started to like break out of my shell a little bit more and I decided to join a play. I had my 2 other girlfriends join the play actually my senior year with me, and it was like the funnest thing ever. And it just like built character in me, to be honest. Like it just built like so much confidence, and I was like, wow, like I can really get on stage and perform in front of people. Like what, you know? So me, so like so cool, so fun and everything, right? So my junior and senior year, like I was just like going out more, I was making more friends, I was just mingling, I was having a good time. Yeah, once wait, where was I going with my story? Oh my gosh, that totally was an ADHD moment where I was like in point A and jumped to like point F. Like, hold on. So, you know, when like your junior and senior year, they're all like, so when is it that you want to do? And blah, 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 blah. I would get prayed for a lot, and I like got the same words, like saying that I had the gift of just connecting with people. But that's all I would always get, like that I had that gift to connect with other people. And I didn't really know what it meant at the time, but I do remember and this happens till this day, but I do remember like when people would approach me and everything, they kind of like just laid out their whole life to me, and they would just like tell me their feelings and, you know, just like ni los conocía, and they would just like feel so comfortable telling me pretty much like their business. And like a mí no me afectaba mucho, like I wouldn't like think too much of it, like because it was just so natural that like people would do this, like it became so normal to me. And I felt like after that conversation I wouldn't feel burnout, but they would feel so much better. And then I kind of started connecting the 2 and 2, like where I would be getting like these, like I would be getting told by people like, oh, you're gonna build a connection with people. And then I started noticing like a lot of people would just like come to me and like talk to me and everything. Y no era que like yo les daba consejos or advice or anything like that. So in my mind at the time, I was like, like maybe, you know, counseling would be a really good idea. And at the time, like I wasn't like super aware of like what counseling, all the depths that went into it. But like to me, I've seen counselors before in my life. And so like to me, I was just like, oh, someone that can just like sit with someone and just listen. So during my last year, that's when I decided that, hey, maybe like I can go into counseling or something. So then I remember that following summer, I started really getting involved in church, like really involved. Like I was literally like my whole time was occupied by doing something in church. And I started to really build a relationship with God rather than just like attending church and thinking that I knew God. This was the time where like I genuinely started to feel God in like a very different way. And I remember like someone praying over me and telling me the same thing that I had heard a few years ago, that I have the gift of connecting with people and I have the gift of supporting and empowering and giving people voice. Like, I had heard it before and I'm just like, okay, like, I don't get it though. Like, I get it, but I don't get it, you know? And I remember I was sitting with my mom one time and I was just having the conversation with her. I was getting a little antsy, to be honest, that I was preparing to go into like my freshman year of college. And I was like, Mom, I honestly don't know exactly what I'm going for. Like, I'm gonna be putting this money towards school, pero ¿qué voy a hacer, you know? And I told her about word that had been prayed over me and that this had happened a few times throughout, you know, like high school and now and everything. And she was the one that actually brought up social work to my heart. I never had really thought about it. Y en esto, when we were growing up, my mom had a social worker that supported and literally encouraged her through like everything that my mom was going through in a season of her life. And I started really thinking about that lady and just like the way that I felt very comfortable around her, and I like our family had built like this trust with her and everything because she really taught my mom how to feel empowered. And I just thought about it and I was like, oh wow, like that is so amazing. Like, that's so true. Like, I had seen it, I had witnessed it with my mom, and it started clicking for me. And I was like, huh, like my mom felt empowered. My mom had the voice. My mom felt supported by this person. Like, it wasn't that she needed fixing. It wasn't that she just needed help. Like, she just needed to learn how to empower herself to move out of like a certain environment she was in. And now like my mom's here. Like, now my mom is like this like amazing person and everything, and like lo ha hecho toda ella sola, you know, like, and I just like started like connecting two and two. And over that whole summer before I went into like college and everything, and I had prayed and I was like, God, like, is this what you had been telling me? Like, is it social work that you're telling me? Because that's when like I started becoming very curious about just like why people think certain ways and like why people act certain ways. And then I like learned that it was like a very broad field. And so I got into like college, and that's like when I sat down with the counselor, I was like, you know what, like I want to major in this. Like, this is what I want to major in. So I kind of like stuck to that, and I just like kept praying to God like if this was it, but I felt very at peace with that decision. And so since then, I was just breaking out of my shell, and I was really just like stepping out of my comfort zone. And I started meeting a lot of really cool people that always wanted to like build their life for the better. Like, I started meeting a lot of people que nunca se querían quedar where they were. Like, they always wanted to grow from that. And that really inspired me, and it encouraged me that I shouldn't settle for like where I am right now, like that I should always continue to grow. And I feel like that was just like a really awesome experience that I went through at a young age. And just like I met a lot of older people too. I was always surrounded by older people that always motivated me to do better. And they would hear like that I was going to school and I was working, and they would encourage me to like, just keep going, you know? So like I felt like I really had surrounded myself with like really encouraging people, which helped a lot. So I want to say that it was 2017 when the church that I used to attend, the pastor's wife called me up, and this was like not really unusual. Like I mentioned that I was very involved in church, so it was like normal that she would like call me up. I was really close to her. She was one of the people that actually I really looked up to during that time in my life. And so she called me up and she's like, hey, you want to come have coffee at my house? And I was like, sure, you know, like nothing unusual or anything. So I get to her house and we're just having a conversation, you know, and she mentions to me that in the month of March, there would be a service dedicated to the woman because it was like Women's Day like Women's International Day or something. And she said that she was like talking amongst the las damas of the church, and las damas like are like, it's like a women's group of the church that like get very involved in church, like have Bible studies, like make like plan out events and everything. So she was saying that she was talking to the women of the church, and they were thinking of someone to preach for that Sunday service for Women's Day. And she said, and everyone mentioned you. Everyone was mentioning your name. It kind of did get me off guard because, I mean, I was young, you know, like I was in my early 20s, and like for older women to like consider a young person to preach at a Sunday service, like I was just like, oh, holy cow, oh, you know? But I was like, yeah, like I'll do it. Like, why not? So I want to say I had like about a month to prep for the sermon. And honestly, this is what did it for me. This is what literally confirmed my love for God. This is what taught me how to have a relationship with God. This moment was the moment where I learned how to pray. I learned how to fast. I learned how to read the Bible. I learned how to give my all to God and just allow him to use me. Like this is honestly the reason why absolutely no one can make me question why God is so amazing and why God is real. Like I had never felt God's fire consuming in me ever the way that I did during this time. And the way that the Holy Spirit would just move in me, and just like the things that he revealed to me and how he would speak to me, like it's just so unexplainable, but it's also so real. And when I say that, like God spoke to me, it's not like God was like giving me this audible voice and, you know, like telling me just things like direct and things like that. But when I was reading his word, when I was in prayer, when I was in fast, like there is just this moment of peace in your life, in your heart, in your whole surrounding. And there's just like these moments of like secureness and comfort without any questions or doubts. Like that is when I know it's God, because there's no confusion. There is no question. There is just that confirmation that this is what it is. And you just feel at such peace with the decision, with whatever comes in that moment, like, you know, it's God. So then when the time came of doing the preaching, you know, I was just like so on fire, and I delivered the preaching. It was honestly God speaking through me, and it was just like such a wholesome moment. And I was just there like humbly, and I was there just like letting God do what he does, you know, like, and it was not me speaking, like those words just came out, and like it was just such a different thing I had ever experienced in my life. So after the service happened, the pastor and the pastor's wife and the whole congregation prayed over me. And that's when the pastor prayed over me that was my gift. It was speaking to others. It was guiding others. It was supporting, empowering, and giving others voices. And everything that had been said years prior to that, the same things were said. But this time, I took it legit. And this time, like, I was just like, God, you have been telling me this the whole time. Like, of course, like, you know, like, but I guess like I was just so like en mi propio rollo, to be honest. Like, I was just like, I was listening, but I wasn't putting action to that. So that was like the moment that it confirmed that what I was majoring in college, like, it was that. And from that day moving forward, I was just like, Lord, you lead me, you do what you want with me, like, I'm yours, like, you work in me, you know? So from that day moving forward, like, I was doing the Lord's work, and I continued to stick to social work as my major and everything. Y me acuerdo que una vez me topé a una maestra. I can't remember if she was like my middle school or high school I can't remember. But when she was just like, hey, how are you doing? You know, like we caught up a little and I told her that I was in college and everything. She's like, so what are you studying? And I was like, oh, like I'm majoring in social work. And she was like, oh, you know, like me hizo como una like concerned, like questioning, like, you know, and I was just like, yeah. And she's like, oh. And I was like, oh, like what does that mean? You know, like being like, you. And she was like, ooh, you're going to make no money doing that. And I was like, and honestamente, like I had never really thought about it. Like I hadn't thought about the financial aspect of it all. Y como que it brought a little discouragement, to be honest. Like kind of like I felt a little humiliated in a way that I was like, like I didn't have a way to like back it up or like, you know, tell her why I was doing this or, you know, like nothing like that. And I was just like, oh, like, and she's like, you should really like think about like minoring in something or maybe just, you know, have a backup plan, like being very condescending with me. And I was like, okay, thanks. I was like, well, it was good seeing you, you know, like bien, like toda acá. And I remember going home and then I started researching. I was like, how much do social workers make? And I like started researching and everything. And I started seeing and I was like, oh, Lord, like, I was like, wait, what? You know? Y como que me empezó a dar como like some doubt and just like questioning. I was like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to make a living out of this? But I was like, God, like, this is what you want from me. Like, but I like stuck to it. But in the back of my mind, I was always thinking about it. And I was like, oh, damn, like, oh, And then I remember that during this time, like I had to do an internship and I decided to do an internship through my church. And I sat down with my pastor. I told him, you know, like what the requirements were and everything. And we were like talking and then he like started praying over me, you know, for God to just give me the guidance and everything. And then he starts praying over me and he like stops midway and he's like, and I was like, oh gosh, what? You know, like when like pastors like do that and they're just like, yeah, and they're about to give you a word and you're like, oh gosh. And I remember him telling me, he was like, I saw you in this room and people were walking up to your door waiting to see you porque te tienen esa confianza. Like they trust you and they know that they're able to go to you because they feel seen and they feel heard. And I just remember him saying, God is not giving you this calling because you're going to do the work, but he's going to do the work through you. So don't doubt in what he has for you, and he's going to provide every step of the way. And this was a few months después de que me pasó this encounter with this lady. And there honestly were a lot of moments in my life where people just kept speaking over me because honestly, there was just like moments where a lot of people would make me question of the career choice that I had put myself in. And a lot of people were just like, you know, like, oh, you know, and like, it kind of like just brings such like it just like kind of brings like discouragement in you, like that people are just like, why didn't you choose like something that gets you money? Or why didn't you, you know, just like, para ellos, like, there's just so many people, and I get it. Like, I do understand why money is such a big thing. Like, that's how we live. Like, that's, you know, like, that's how you make a living out of yourself and everything, and I totally get it. Pero para mí no era eso. Like, para mí it was like, I just want to do God's will. I want to just fulfill that purpose. I don't want to disappoint him. Like, he gave me this calling, and like, y había tantas cosas, like so many people that would just talk down on me and so many people that would just tell me like, oh, you're making a mistake, blah, 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 you know, and like, it was like this constant battle of it, but I just like continued to just like put my trust in God, and he was just doing like all the work. And honestly, like so many awesome internships that I did through this program, like made me just like, it just like confirmed for me, like, this is what God wants for you. This is what God wants for you. Like, there was never like a moment where God would stop showing up during that time. He would continuously reassure me like, this is your calling. And I remember for my birthday, the church that I was attending to when I lived in the city, me invitaron to like what they call like birthday wishes. I think that's what they were called, where like if it's your birthday month, there's like this woman that speaks word over you. And so I went, and they were like going around and like, you know, like they were like speaking word over each individual that had like a birthday that month. And she comes to me, and I'm so upset because she made us record it on her phone so that when we needed to hear that message again, we had it. And I don't remember, and I don't know why I don't have it on my phone. I think I switched phones and it never saved. And I'm so upset because I always wanted to rehear her words. When I remember when she spoke word over me, she had like mentioned something about que había pasado through something like really ugly and like healing through it or something like that. And I didn't understand it, and it stuck with me, and I kept like replaying the audio that I had recorded on my phone, and I was like, what? Like what thing? Like what ugly thing did I go through? Like I don't get it. So I prayed about it for a little bit, and then I remember seeing her at church, and this was a really big church, and like I casi no la veía tanto. So I remember like going up to her and just, you know, like letting her know that I really enjoyed the event that she had hosted at her house, like about the birthday wishes and everything. And I had like mentioned to her also that I moved out to the city because I was majoring in social work and I wanted to finish my program like where the school was. She's like, I studied social work too. And then like empezamos a hablar así. And then she interrupts me and she was just like, oh my gosh. She's just like, that's it. And I was like, what's it? And she was like, it wasn't you that went through a traumatic event, but it's the people you're going to work with that have gone through traumatic experiences, that through you, they're going to find healing. Through you, they're going to learn how to forgive. Through you, they're going to find the healer. And I was like, because I mean, there was just so much word that had been spoken to me throughout the years, pero nunca nada así, like nothing like, I don't know, it was just like a different way that she spoke over me. And I was just like, wow, like God is good. God has always been good, you know? And I don't want to sit here and sound que like ever since this happened in my life, like life has been perfect and life has been rainbows and butterflies. Absolutely not. It has honestly been the complete opposite. Like, yes, I know that God has always been with me and he continues to walk with me. But when I tell you guys that I have been tested, I have been tempted, I have been discouraged, I have gone through my falls, I have definitely failed God, and I've continued to fail God, but he has stuck to my side. I have not been perfect in this journey. I have failed millions of times. I have done things that doesn't make me look like I am a follower of Christ. And I have been really hard on myself during that time. And there's like things that have just happened along the way. But God continues to bring me back to him. And God continues to show me his grace. And God continues to give me his love. Despite of how many times I have failed him and how many times I have turned my back on him, he has always stuck with me. And that is the one thing I want to just put out there, that the calling that God has for us, the plan that he has for us, he doesn't make mistakes. And when we think that we can't do it, it's not us that is doing it. It's God through us that is putting in the work, that is waking us up every morning to go to work, to be able to achieve these goals, to be able to fulfill his plan for us. And I just feel like this is for someone that has been questioning, that has been doubting, that has been putting aside whatever God has been calling you to do. I feel like this is the moment where you need to step out of that comfort zone and allow God to use you the way that he has been calling you from the beginning. Because the enemy is going to put up a fight because he doesn't want you to accomplish those goals. He doesn't want you to accomplish the call that God has for you. God was not wrong back then when he gave you that first calling, and he is not wrong now where he continues to give you that same calling. He's just knocking on your door, waiting for you to open, for you to accept the gift that he has for you. And I am a walking testimony because look, yo andaba ahí freaking out financially of like, oh my God, ¿cómo le voy a hacer? Like, I'm in this job y no paga nada and blah, blah, blah. You know, like I had those little like concerns and everything. And look, I bought my house in this economy. I was able to pay for school. Me doy el lujo to go and travel wherever I want, whenever I want. And no, this is not to show off of what I have, what I don't have, blah, blah. No, this is showing off the power of God. And when he says he's going to do something, he does it. He fulfills his promises every single time. And I know that what I'm doing now, there is way more that he has for me because this is only the beginning. And all we have to do and the part that we play in all of this is to trust him and give ourselves to him so he's able to handle the rest. Hope you guys have a beautiful Monday and a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Sincerely, B.